Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is Milt with Beijing Living Like a Boss, and we're just out here walking the dog this morning, heading over to our project, the D3400, and we're going to see what we can get done here today. I should have kept on working at this yesterday, but it was such a nice afternoon, and I was out of supplies. I had to go into town and stock up on some groceries, etc. So here we are today, left with a rainy day. So we'll just recap what I did do yesterday. I finally got this spring to nestle down into its proper place, going across the back of the oil pan. And there's a valuable lesson to learn for me again here about the value of walking away from a problem. Coming back to this thing this morning, I did cut away this piece of crap here surrounding the spring. I did cut it away, it's garbage anyway. But it turns out that wasn't what was needed. All I needed was to insert a crowbar in between the spring and the secondary spring support system and pry it up into place. End of story. Took 2 minutes. Oh well, let's move along. Moving over to my next project here to get this thing ready to roll is this pinion is seized up onto the shaft. It's supposed to slide back and forth. So I got to tear all this apart, get that freed up. I think on a previous video I did point out that this here whole nose cone of this assembly was broke off and brazed up, and that's because when they were trying to repair it, whoever was trying to repair it did not know you had to pull the pony motor at least a ½ inch or an inch up, or cant it back, because the gear of the pony motor comes across this here particular edge of the casting, and this is so weak it just snaps it right off. So I guess that's not surprising to find that on these. I've come across it several times. But what is surprising on this machine is none of these the castings to hold the bolts have been broke off. That's amazing. So let's get this thing apart and freed up. I did manage to get, look at how much it's rained. I've never had this covered. So I'm going to have to get busy, dry this off and put a cover on it. But I did manage to get this pinion starting thing for the diesel there pulled apart. The area in here, the pinion itself, all this stuff was all seized up and rusted, pins and stuff. I got new cotter pins, took all apart that end of it anyway and got it functioning. So now it travels back and forth, and it does latch, and I can unlatch it from this hole. So that's all good to go. There's no oil in the gear case yet or anything. This brake works quite well, and it doesn't hard snap forward on the clutch, but it's going to be good enough. I just got this water pump temporarily in place. I'm going to, since it's raining, I'll just move that into the C-can shop and buff off the flanges and build myself a gasket, get that mounted in place, and maybe get the belt on, and then dry this deck off. And we'll work at moving the head over here, get the stud bolts in, and get the head over top to cover things up so it doesn't get this wet again. It's not good for it. I don't know if you can see how bad the condition of this nut is in. They've torched the bottom half off. It's all rusted. Both sides are like that. So that is horrible. Hopefully it don't explode before I get the darn chain back on. The small thing was this cover over the clutch compartment with the little oiler cup. I got that all torn apart, cleaned right out. And the spring is broke, but I got new felts in the cup, so you can just load it up with oil and it'll drip oil onto the throwout bearing down there. There's still parts of the old gasket here, pretty brittle, and I don't know if I got much gasket material left, but we'll have to make something. Clean all this off, cut out a new gasket. Yesterday I did pick up, I've seen this used before, a copper spray gasket by Permatex. Now it's not to spray on there and make a gasket with it, but it's to put a sealant on your gasket. So I'm going to be trying this out on the head gasket. Never used it before. Okay, I got these flanges all cleaned up, and I had enough material to make a cork gasket on the cold water pipe, the intake from the bottom of the radiator. So that's on there, but I'll just take that back off. I'm going to move this pump out and put it on the engine here, but I've got to work at that pipe. It's rotten. So we'll just leave that off to the side. I didn't have enough gasket material to make this particular gasket, so it's made with old file folders again. Only I sprayed it both sides with that copper coat spray. Got that on there. We're going to see if that's going to hold up. If it don't, well, whatever. It's all learning. Okay, I'm just going to run this out and put it on the machine, and we'll show you what I got done after. Okay, there I've got the water pump bolted down in place, except for the one bolt down in the far corner. I'll put that in view in a minute, but I just wanted to mention that so many people, they say right away, get yourself a operator's manual, a parts book, service manual for each one of these old machines. But on this here particular machine, the D2 Caterpillar, I have found that if you're needing any information whatsoever, go to the Squatch 253 channel, and he will have every bit of overhauling this particular machine. Only his is a 5J, this is a 3J. That just means wide gauge for a 5, narrow gauge for a 3. But the machine is identical other than that. And so if you need any reference, just go to his channel, Squatch 253. And I'm going to do that here after I'm done here. But the point that I need to make here is this here bolt here, and I don't remember it. I thought they're all shorter bolts coming out, but apparently that is a long through bolt. It goes through the casting, goes through your intermediate cover and into the block. So it needs to be this long. I don't remember taking that out, but I'm going to go and look up on his channel what he did. Or, you know, because he would have it and he would mention it. Okay, that's all 4 of those bolts mounting that water pump in. So now let's just see if we can get that belt put on. We'll just spin this here shiv off. Oh, I guess I can't spin it off because I got that grease zerk in there. So I'll have to get a wrench, pull that off. Now this belt is the original one, and it is not good at all. But I'm still going to put it back in place because who knows how long this is going to be hanging around not being utilized. This machine, I mean. There, it just slips right up on there. And then we'll just spin this shiv into place. I won't bother tightening it up too much, but it'll be in place anyway. Main reason why I'm not going to put a new belt on, there's no use having a new belt sitting dormant for God knows how long, you know, only to, you know, just get deteriorated. Okay, I'm going to call that good. I'll just run, there's little grooves, 3 grooves. And I made this special pointed bolt. Just run it down, that'll lock it into position. So it'll stay. It's probably not tight enough, but it is for our purposes. Okay, and then we'll just make sure we got our grease zerk back in place. And there, water pump pulley belt is on. Earlier I was wondering about this inside shiv, and they are not there on the D4s, but they are on all the D2s. And that's because they had an externally run generator that's not gear driven like a D4, it's just belt. That's what these flat spots are here, and 2 on the side here. Generator mount, and just like a regular tractor, the generator is mounted here, driven, and that's a huge belt. That I don't know. Like I have no answers for that. The same size belt as this, driving a generator, 6 volt, running, I don't know, a couple of lights. There'd be 6 volts at the time. I can't see them needing that much belt. But anyway, that's what it is. Mounted here and there, generator externally, just like a tractor of the day, wheel tractor. All right, now I'm going to go and pour myself a libation. I'm going to look up Squatch 253 channel. The good thing about his channel as well is that everything is sequential. It's on a playlist. You just look up the D2 build, whatever. Go, you know, you just search through. He's got 100 and some or 20 videos there of assembly. Great detail. Better than any service book. Part numbers, everything's included. He's got replacement step-up parts from Napa or several other areas you can get bearings and seals, etc., etc. So great source of information if you're rebuilding a D2 Caterpillar of this vintage. And I imagine it'll go up into the 50s when they quit making them, but whatever. Okay, we'll catch up to you later. On to the next thing, which is going to be studying the block. Okay, well, it took quite a while to get to this point where I'm studying up the block. I'm probably halfway done. I spent quite a bit of time on the head, cleaning it up. It's in really bad shape. It needs some valve work for sure, but that's not going to happen. So I'm just going ahead putting these studs in, and one thing I learned, I'm using the impact just to run the nuts on, but I go all by hand to tighten them up and run them in. I already learned that because the impact really tightens these nuts up and they're really hard to break, gonna wear them out. How I do it is I just use 2 nuts and I tighten them up on each other, double nut them, and run them in, as opposed to using well, there's special tools to run studs, but they always leave marks. Rest. Okay, now we're done. So we got them all studded in there, and I'm just going to call her quits for the night and get back at her in the morning. I'll just put my my little temporary roof over top of this to keep any rain coming down, which I'm pretty sure it's going to rain. And then we'll get back at her in the morning. Well, yesterday I worked a long time on that head and realized that, well, I couldn't get one valve unstuck for a while. I did get it. I had to pull the keepers and spring off it, a pair of springs off it, and drive it out, clean up the stem and everything. And then I realized that, well, that whole valve is pretty much pitted, and so is the valve seat. So that whole head probably needs to be gone over. But I put the valve back in the head and polished her up, and we're going to put her back on in place. Also, I cleaned off the deck of that engine and re-studded it. Last thing to do is to clean up this gasket. It's got layers of old shellac on it. So we're going to clean it up. One thing I did notice that it was actually put upside down, I believe, because in my experience the numbers should be facing up. They were clearly down, like the part number and manufacturer, whoever. They were facing down, so I'm going to install it face up. But I'm prepping this all to use that copper coat spray. So I got to clean this first and then spray it down with a couple of coats, and then we can put this head in place, hopefully. Well, I had to, I only got one of these 18-volt battery packs left of for my DeWalt set of tools. I have started converting them to 20s, but I still got the one battery left, and it died out there on the gasket, cleaning the gasket up, so I got to recharge it. I could dig out the 20s there, but I figured I might as well use this up. Then DeWalt, I didn't really appreciate them changing it to 20s, and then I got to get an adapter, and I got to, buy new batteries, all and different, whatever. It's just something that really annoyed me, but anyway, we're almost over it. So I moved in, and I'm cleaning up this lower water tube for the water pump going to the bottom of the radiator, and it's full of rust, and it's kind of rotted here where the hose was on. But I'm going to cut that off eventually and get a longer hose that'll come up just further up on the pipe. It's quite a bit better up further. So we just got to adjust that. But the main thing is this. I'm going to take this off of there as well. This has been repaired with JB weld at one time, but it's rotted out beside it. It's pretty thin. I don't think we'll ever get it to hold. You never know. I might try buffing it right up and putting a whole bunch of JB weld on there. I got to check into it. I think this is soldering, so I might be able to pull that out, find out what size of pipe this is, and go to the exhaust shop, and they could bend me a 45. Or is that a 45 or a 90? Whichever. 90. We'll do it that way, but we'll check into it. But first off, get this here big old bolt off of there. We got her on the run. I like to save these old style clamps, bolts, square bolts. I just love to save them. I know it's a lot of work, but that's what I do with these old machines. I just try to save as much of the originality as possible and reuse it. There, garbage. Okay, let's see what kind of shape this elbow is in. Well, it's actually not falling away, so I'm going to try buffing it right up, mixing up some, what do you call it? JB weld, and cover it up. See if we can just make her work temporarily. Just got to use a longer hose, comes down further. And I really want to save this here fitting here. It's been mangled here. It's supposed to have a threaded port here with a little spigot coming out of it, or a pipe. But it's been beat up. But at least the flanges aren't broke on it. Okay, I cut that rotted piece off a couple inches down to some, it's thin, but it's all metal. So we'll just put this in place while we're waiting for that gasket to skin up. Well, turns out I had the wrong bolts. Why would I think that it took a 5/16 bolt on this flange when everything else is 3/8? You know. Okay, the lower water pump pipe is on, half of it anyway. Our gasket's looking pretty sharp, almost looks brand new. Well, I got the head on, and as luck would know it, I wasn't recording it. So we're going to redo the whole putting the head back on because, well, you can only use that excuse, well, lost footage, a battery died, just didn't record, don't know what's going on. So I'm going to get the Clark back in here and pick it up, back it up, put it back down. And yeah, then we'll know for sure that I did actually put the head on. Okay, head install, take 2. There, I think we got it. So there, just like that, the head's on. 2 attempts. Actually, not 2 attempts. Two successful, just sliding the head on. This time it was recorded though. Well, I think that went quite well. Wish I had another 2 or 3 of these old machines ready to put the head on. I'd be good at it. But anyway, looking at the actual footage I do have, it's drawing me up to the half hour limit. I don't really like to go any further than that because it takes so much to upload it. So I'm going to end the video here. So if you like my videos, working on this old legacy work, legacy iron, legacy machines, of which I got a few around here. Yeah, just subscribe, like, and hit that notification. And above all, make comments. So we will catch up to you later. Come on, say persist. A few people have been noticing in the background when I'm working in the C-can, I got this old 45 sitting there. Got some dreams to put that on a bike there someday. It's a 49 WL. It's all redone. Just got to put her in a chassis, in a bike frame. Someday, maybe this summer. Nah, I doubt it, but someday.